Hello guys, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Soffin Arfian and I am IPMI student from September 2023. And I will talk about my mind mapping about corporate finance. My distinguished lecturer is Professor Roy Sembel. He is one of the awesome lecturer in IPMI International Business School. Okay, let's now dive into my mind mapping on corporate finance. Let's go.
Well, okay, this is my mind mapping of corporate finance and made by me, Soffin Arfian, and my lecturer is Professor Insinyur Roy S.M. Sembel, MBA, PhD, CSA, and CIB. Okay, now we'll talk about mind mapping. Corporate finance that I learned for 8 weeks consists of introduction to financial management and capital budgeting and analysis of securities, then capital structure and fraud risk management and reviewing business book and film and even analysis. For the introduction to financial management, we talk about time value of money. That consists of the goal of financial management, how to manage financial management, and GCG, good corporate governance, and principal agent problem. Then in the capital budgeting, we talk about methods. Methods are one, that payback period, and methods two, net present value, method three, profitability index, and method four, internal rate of return. Then the analysis of securities. We talk about portfolio investment and big picture of investment strategy. Then the capital structure, we talk about financial distress, corporate restructuring, and surviving and transforming business. Then in the fraud risk management, we talk about occupational fraud and abuse, and the fraud hexagonal and statistic, and fraud prevention. And for reviewing business book and film and if analysis, we're reviewing the good books that the title is Rich Dad and Poor Dad, and the film is Other People's Money and even analysis. Well, that is the 8 weeks I've learned. There's so much lesson learned in 8 weeks from the lecture of the Professor Sembel. When we learn financial management, so we learn about the optimal orchestration of internal and external financial resources towards significant and sustainable value creation. The goal of financial management is basic objective is profit and wealth maximization. There's significant and sustainable value creation. And number two, we learn about operational objective, that timely availability of requisite finance, most effective utilization of finance, and safety investment, and the growth of enterprises. And number three, we learn about social objective, that payment of interest, dividends, wages, and taxes, fair settlements with suppliers, and maintain relationship with financiers. And we learn about research objective, research for new and better source of finance. And next, we learn about how to manage financial management. The capital structure, we learn about debt to equity ratio and working capital management, permanent versus non-permanent current assets, choice of working capital finance. And we learn about asset structures, so fixed asset ratio. And revenue management, the portion of recurring revenue. And number five, we learn about cost management, fixed cost portion. And number six, we learn about cash flow management, We learn about 5 principle of cash management. And number 7, we learn about growth management, organic and merger and acquisition, partnerships, growth, and risk management. We learn about risk appetite. And next, we learn about the good corporate governance. That is tariff, the transparency, accountability, responsibility, independence, fairness. So, the prudent management, according to mandate given, uh, sustainable performance and improvement, then better corporate image. That is we learn about financial management. And we learn about principle of agent problem. There is conflict of interest, asymmetric information, and moral hazard that make the adverse selection. And also, we learn from Professor Ramcharan the 5 business essential that consists of cash, profit margin, velocity, growth, and customer focus. Then we learn about the value creation. There are 4 cornerstones of corporate finance. Corner number 1 is core of value principle. Then corner number 2 is conservation of value principle. And corner number 3, expectation treadmill principle. And corner number 4, best owner principle. This is creative value creation. Then the next, we learn about capital budgeting. We learn about method. Method 1 is payback period. That's how many years does it take to cover the initial investment. There is a weakness of payback periods. The weakness is subjective and not consider time value of money. Then the payback period is not consider required rate of return and not consider all cash flow from the project. Then the method number 2 is NPV. NPV decision rule is accept if NPV bigger or equal to 0. Then the method number 3 is profitability index or PI. The PI decision rule accept if PI bigger than 1 and reject if PI lower than 1. Then we learn about method number 4, that is internal rate of return or IRR. Now we learn about analysis of securities. We learn about portfolio investment, and we are learning to invest and following companies listed on the Indonesia Stock Exchange from week 1 to week 8. Then we have the big picture of investment strategy, that is return versus risk. The principle is buy lower and sell higher. They consist of the passive investing and active investing. The passive investing is just follow the market, and the active investing is there are fundamental analysis, technical analysis, and market or investor sentiment. For technical analysis, there is a finding repeated patterns in the price graph. In the fundamental analysis, we learn about domestic and global economic analysis, industry analysis, company analysis. Then we learn about intrinsic value and market price. Decision, if the intrinsic value more than market price, so buy. And when intrinsic value below market price, then we have to sell or short sell. If the intrinsic value equal to market price, so hold. Then in the capital structure, we learn about financial distress, corporate restructuring, and surviving and transforming business. Financial distress is a condition when a company or individual cannot generate enough income, thus unable to pay their financial obligation. This is usually due to high fixed costs, illiquid assets. This is the process to bankruptcy. So, if the financial distress, there is a turnaround opportunity, then the choice is restructuring the asset, restructuring the operation, and financial restructuring. But if there is a permanent problem, so this is the bankruptcy. And we learn about corporate restructuring. There is much learning from capital structure, lower debt equity ratio, working capital management, asset structure, revenue management, cost management, cash flow management, growth management, and risk management. Then to surviving and transforming business. The process, we have to stop the bleeding, and then financial restructuring, temporary pivoting, strategic realigning, redefining core business, and new ways of doing business. Next, we learn about fraud risk management. We learn about occupational fraud and abuse, the fraud hexagonal and statistic, the fraud prevention. Occupational fraud and abuse, we talk about corruption, as asset misappropriation, and fraudulent statement. Then the fraud hexagonal and statistic, we learn about opportunity, need and justification, character and arrogance, and competence, that knowledge. Yeah. Then the fraud statistic, the male is bigger than female. The age between 36 to 50 years old, and the education below S1. For the fraud prevention, we learn about build employee ethics, rights, SOPs that have to be followed if fraud event is suspected or discovered or identified. Then train employees to increase alertness for fraud and how to prevent fraud, including financial control procedures, IT, security, and etc. Protective security, hardware, and software. Then create the whistleblower mechanism. Okay, we are at last we are reviewing business book and reviewing business film and event analysis. We are reviewing business book that's excellent books, Rich Dad and Poor Dad. This book inspired and provides tips and practical steps to start the journey to wealth and financial independence. And from the film, The Other People's Money, we learn about the lesson to be learned from this movie is that businesses must always be ready to adapt to changing time and keep up with market needs, and be smart managing finance, also balancing for doing right and doing well. So we have to balancing from doing right for the business and doing well for the business. There must be balance, not choose one. So choose the two of the doing right and doing well, and we have to keep up the time with the market needs. Thank you. This is my mind mapping for the corporate finance lecturer by Professor Roy Samble for 8 weeks, and may this can enrich our knowledge about corporate finance.
Okay, guys, that is my mind mapping about corporate finance. I hope that can enrich our knowledge on corporate finance. Well, see you next, and may we always be healthy. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you.